Welcome back. The lobster fishery, of course, is at the center of East Coast culture and commerce. We are joined tonight by Greg Mercer. He is one of our finest investigative journalists in this country from the St. John area, Darling's Island.
That's right.
In particular, got to get that right. He's written a fascinating look at the romance and reality of the lobster fishery. It is called The Lobster Trap. It is essential reading for anyone who lives here on the East Coast, wants to know about the lobster fishery and the future of it and the history of it as well. And it takes a book, because I don't know, is there any other industry on the planet like the lobster fishery? It touches on everything, the environment, politics, commerce, trade. There's really nothing like it.
No, this is it. When I was covering it as a daily reporter, it was really frustrating because you thought there's so much more here to this story, and I can't tell it in a daily story in 1,200 words. It needed more space, and so to have the luxury of telling it in book length, I feel like I can actually tell the story the way I wanted to, the way I felt it needed to be told, with all the context and the history and the politics and what's happening with our oceans. Trying to tell that story, I really couldn't do it if it wasn't in a book.
Yeah. You've been covering, of course, for the Globe and Mail as your time in Atlantic Bureau Chief.
That's right.
And so now the opportunity to delve in it a little deeper. Look, I want you to address something because it comes up every so often. You, in the opening pages of the book, you explain why you use the term fisherman, not fishers. There are other terms used. Maybe explain why that's the case.
Yeah, the only reason I do that is because that is at the request of women who work in the fishery. Every time you would call them a fisher or a harvester, they would say, no, we're fishermen, the same as everyone else. So I'm just doing that out of respect to women who work in the fishery. They want to be called fishermen, and that's the term that I've used for the book.
I think everybody who lives in the Maritimes, on the East Coast, along the coastline in particular, has some knowledge of the fishery. If nothing else, they see it. It's such a part of our lives. You more so than most, because you've been covering it in your career. But what did you learn in producing this book?
I learned that probably at no point in our history has there been more challenges facing this industry. And this is an incredibly important sector for Atlantic Canada. It's worth billions of dollars, employs tens of thousands of people. It's never had more uncertainty about its future. We've never fought more over lobster and who has the right to catch it. And we've never paid more for it as consumers. So there's a lot going on right now within the story of lobster.
I found it fascinating. And in one part of the book, you're speaking with a fisherman, and I think we all get the impression that perhaps the industry is safer than it's been before because, you know, better boats, new technology. But this fisherman said, no, in fact, they're taking greater risks, pushing harder.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think without question, commercial fishing remains one of the most dangerous jobs in Canada. One of the reasons is because there's so much money involved. Not just because the price of lobster is historically high, but the debt loads that fishermen are carrying in order to gain entry to the industry, to buy boats, to buy licenses. Often it can be $1.5 million that a young fisherman has. So that pressure to continue fishing, even to go out in weather that perhaps your grandfather might not have gone out in, is very real. And so we can't remove it from the story of lobster today.
And at the same time, they never know exactly what they're going to come back with. You don't know what the catch is going to be like from one year to the next. Weather can get in the way. There's all kinds of variables. Heaven forbid, things like trade.
Absolutely. I mean, you feel like just when they think they've got some calm waters, another curveball is thrown at them, right? So it seems like the more that things stay the same, they keep changing in the fishery. And so you're right. This year, just as people think they're starting to get ahead of one issue, China, and then China throws tariffs at Canada, and Donald Trump threatens us with tariffs. And so it's constantly being challenged from all corners.
Talk about the impact that live shipping has made. It's revolutionized it. I mean, there's few other industries where the catch is live and can be shipped. And we see in the Halifax area, you see planes from Korea coming in.
Absolutely.
Filling up with primarily nothing but lobster, and this is heading the other side of the world.
It's been an absolute game changer, right? The ability to take live lobster from the coast of Nova Scotia, get it to the airport, and chill it to the point where you can transport it safely without killing it, and then loading it on a plane and flying it to Beijing and doing all this within a weekend. We couldn't do that a couple of decades ago. Now we do it on a daily basis. And because of that, it's opened up all kinds of markets around the world. And we've turned what was once a regional food into really a global luxury food.
Well, and on that, there is lobster everywhere in the world, right? Lots of varieties. It's this particular species.
Absolutely.
That's in demand.
Absolutely, yeah. North American lobster is most prized. We pay the most for it because of it has those claws. There's a lot of lobster species in the world that don't have the claws, but our lobster, the world wants it more than any other species. There's certainly other types, but no lobster as an industry is worth more than our lobster.
We talk about how important it is to the commerce, the economy of the East Coast, also to the culture. There are pressures that you write at great length, whether it is warming oceans, whether it's overfishing. Could there be a scenario where we see a collapse like what happened in the cod fishery?
I mean, I think we all hope not, of course, but we don't have to look far to see where it has collapsed. If you look to the southern New England fishery, places like Rhode Island or Connecticut, where it's completely collapsed. There's really no lobster there. And while their fishery is a little different than ours, they have a different set of rules, they're fishing the same kind of lobster in the same kind of conditions. So people point to that and say, if it can happen there, it could happen here, and we should not pretend that we are invincible, that those kind of problems, we won't see them here.
There's been a lot of headlines recently, in recent years, the indigenous fishery, the right to the fishery. That is not new. It goes back, you write about it, it goes back to the 1700s.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was a very different scenario. Maybe you can talk a bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the irony is that the treaties that the British colonial government was signing with the indigenous folk, with the Mi'kmaq, was to protect British ships who were going into Mi'kmaq territory and fishing. It was really as part of to form an alliance because they were fighting with the French. The British need the Mi'kmaq on side, so they gave them this. Said, look, we won't go into your fishing areas, your traditional areas, so that we can concentrate on fighting the French. If you look at it today, it's completely turned upside down. I mean, really, it's you know, it's about allowing the Mi'kmaq into the access to a fishery they've really been excluded from a long time.
Right. It's a fascinating book. Like I said, you've got a couple of appearances that you're making. You want to talk about that? That's
right. Yeah, tonight at the Bus Stop Theatre in Halifax, 7 o'clock, and 7 o'clock tomorrow night in Fredericton at St. Thomas University.
Like any good journalist, to do your research, you went out on the boats. How did you make out?
Not very well. I learned I meant to work on land. I was violently seasick when I went out a couple of years ago in a day after a storm, and it really gave me an appreciation for the work they do.
I can vouch for that as well. You think you may be a tough guy, and then you go out on the water and you realize just how difficult a job that is.
Yeah,
never mind the risks.
It's humbling. It's a dangerous job. It's a difficult job, and we need to appreciate the work these folks do to bring lobster to us.
The book is The Lobster Trap, and it's available now in stores, as they say on television.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with much more of your newscast after this.